Hey guys, it's 1 a.m. on August 8th, Saturday. I'm sure the world is asleep, but I felt like recording the scene right now. Terrible, terrible night though, because we just heard news of an airplane that overshot the runway and crashed at Kozhikode or Kohikode, I don't know how it's pronounced, but Calicut in India, Kerala. Sad news. A lot of people died. Bad. But life goes on, so we have to finish this scene. So I thought of finishing it right now. We are on Act 1, Scene 2, Merchant of Venice, page 33. The last I spoke to you guys was when we did the Neapolitan Prince. We studied about County Palatine and we also finished the French Lord. And 3 more suitors to go. The 4th suitor is Falconbridge, the young Baron of England. Baron, once again, let me remind you, Baron is a title. Lord of England, like Duke, Earl, County. So this is a Baron. So the young Lord of England. If I tell you where Tarak Mehta ka setup is and what language Tarak Mehta speaks, you know he speaks in Gujarati. So Tarak Mehta or Jetalal, you know that they talk in Gujarati. But the TV series is happening in Hindi. So the medium of communication with each other originally in that imaginary fictional world is Gujarati or something else. But when we watch them on screen, they are all talking in Hindi. Likewise, the play Merchant of Venice, when narrated or when acted out, is in English. The play was in English. But the characters, Portia, Nerissa, they don't know English. Alright? I'm not talking about the actors, I'm talking about the characters. So this character, Portia, is supposed to be in Belmont, which is in Italy. Alright, a fictional place in Italy, somewhere close to Venice. So the languages that she knows are French, Latin, Italian, but what she doesn't know is English. Alright? And the young Baron of England, the language that he knows is English. Nerissa tells Portia, what do you think then of Falconbridge, the young Baron of England? And Portia says, you know I say nothing to him. Why? Question mark dalo wahan pe. You know I say nothing to him pe question mark. Kaiko? Because he doesn't understand me, nor do I understand him. So for he understands not me. Not me matlab he doesn't understand me. Nor do I understand him. Why not? Again question mark. He hath matlab knows. He knows neither. Matlab he has no knowledge of. He has no knowledge of the languages like Latin or French nor Italian. And you Nerissa, you as a Nerissa, you are my best friend. You've been raised with me. तुम्हें वो बचपन से जानती है. You know that you'll come into a court and swear that I have a poor penny worth in English. Have a poor penny worth in English. मतलब मेरे को एक फूटी कौड़ी English नहीं आती. मतलब my English knowledge is very limited. Like I hardly know any English. वो सिर्फ English में बात करता है. मैं फ्रेंच में बात कर सकती हूँ, लैटिन में बात कर सकती हूँ, इटालियन में बात कर सकती हूँ, बट व्हाट आई कांट टॉक इन इज इंग्लिश. सो माय इंग्लिश इज टूटी फूटी लैंग्वेज. I cannot speak this language. I don't know why I'm doing this. Sorry. I just thought that right. You know, I'm a tutti frutti knowledge. My English is not savage. Never mind. I'll continue again. Sorry. Just erase the last 10 seconds from your memory. All right. He has no knowledge of these languages, nor can I speak in English. He is a proper man's picture, though. He's good looking. Proper man's picture. Handsome banda hai wo. Handsome banda hai wo. Alright? So he looks good. He's a proper man's picture. But alas is an expression of sadness. Like, hey, mata ji. Alright? So that's alas. Alas, who can converse? Who can talk to? Who can talk to a dumb show? Unlike dumb show. Exam में पूछेंगे, what does dumb show refer to? So a dumb show is a mime show. A mime is mime acting. You know those people who paint their faces white and they don't say anything, but they show their talent through acting. Alright? So a dumb show is a mime act, acting without any words. So she says, if I spend my life with him, my entire life will be like a dumb show. Also, his dressing is pretty weird. So Shakespeare himself is from England, but he is making fun of the way Elizabethan times mein people used to dress. And English people are always known to be stylish also, and they sometimes get the style pretty wrong also because they try to borrow fashion from everywhere. Alright? So here Shakespeare is taunting his own people. He's making fun of the way Englishmen dress. How oddly he is suited. Suited is dressed. How oddly is he dressed? I feel, he bought his doublet. Doublet is the jacket. I think he's bought his jacket from Italy, as in he's borrowed the sense of style for his jacket from Italy. I think he bought his round hose. Hose are the tights that they wore in Shakespearean times. Very funny the way they would dress up, you know, like balloon pants. So he bought his round hose in France and his bonnet in Germany. Bonnet is the cap. So I think he's borrowed his fashion from everywhere. and his behavior, sarcasm. So he's bought his jacket from somewhere, he's bought his pants from somewhere, he's bought his hat from somewhere, and his behavior, he's bought it from everywhere. Alright? So she made fun of the English guys. Clearly, she doesn't like the young Baron of England. That leaves me with the second last lord, that's the Scottish lord. Scottish lord. What do you think of the Scottish lord, his neighbor? So Scottish is Scotland. Scotland, his neighbor, is England's neighbor. So the Scotland is next to England. Scotland is a neighbor of England. Alright, so what do you think of his neighbor, Scottish lord? Portia says, I think that he over here is a Scottish lord. Hath matlab has a neighborly charity in him. He's very generous. Sarcasm. वहाँ बाजू में लिख दो sarcasm. She's taunting him. बोलती है भाई बहुत generous है. You know, because when the English lord punched him, he immediately said कि यार मैं ना तेरा punch return कर दूंगा. ये 2.5 किलो का हाथ है ना, मैं और मारूंगा तुझे को. Sorry. Damn it, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think that's why you should not record lectures in the morning, alright? But you got it, right? So she's making fun of the Scottish lord, calling him a coward. Because when the Scottish lord got punched on his face by the English lord, he promised to hit him back. You've seen this in Hindu movies, no? When someone beats up someone, they say, "Hey, माँ का दूध पिया तो उधर ही छुक ना, हिलना मत यहाँ से, आता हूँ मैं आता हूँ, तू रुक इधर ही छुक." And then that person is like, हाँ जा लेके आ, जिसको लेके आने का लेके आ. And then this guy never comes back, you know. So he's saying all of these things, but he doesn't have the courage to pick a fight with someone. All right. Shakespeare once again is making fun of Scotland. When this play was written, England was often at war with Scotland. Shakespeare, being from England, clearly is supporting English people. So he says that Scottish people are cowards. He has a neighborly charity in him. He borrowed a box of the year off. Underline box of the year. That entire phrase means he got a punch. He got boxed. He got punched on his face. On his ear, matlab on his face. Off, matlab by the Englishman. So they both got into a brawl. They both got into a fight. The Englishman punched him and he swore, he as in the Scottish lord swore, that he would pay him again. He over here is the Scottish lord, pay him. Him over here is the English guy. Scottish lord would pay him back. मतलब तू रुक उधर ही, मैं तेरे को वापस मारूंगा एक दिन. Okay, so he promised to hit him back when he was able. Underline that line. Nice, impactful line. When he was able. मतलब जब उसके होश वापस आ जाएंगे, जब उसमें guts होंगे, जब उसमें courage होगा. ठीक है? I think, I over here is Portia. She says, I think the Frenchman became his surety. So again, Shakespeare is using his characters of Portia, Nerissa to make fun of not only Scottish people but also French people. Because Scotland and France, okay, they were allies. They were always together against England. So here, when the Scottish lord, this character Scottish lord got punched by the English guy, the French person supported the Scottish lord. But he didn't have the guts to fight the English guy. He just said, हाँ हाँ मैं भी इसके साथ तेरे को एक पंच मारूंगा. इसके साथ किसके साथ? Scottish lord के साथ. So I think the Frenchman became his surety. His over here is a Scottish lord's surety. Surety मतलब ये उसने support दिखा, but both of them didn't have the guts to go and hit the English guy. So he became a surety and sealed under for another. Sealed under for another, मतलब promised that when the Scottish lord had the courage to fight the English guy, even he will join in and try to fight the English guy. He who? The French lord. Okay? Calm down. Read until here. पहले इतना देख लो. Pause कर दो. पढ़ लो. Up next. Last lord. Alright? How like you, the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew. Alright? Not the Duke of Saxony himself. Saxony is a place. Duke is a title. So I'm not talking about the Duke of Saxony. I'm talking about the Duke of Saxony's nephew. Alright? Now this guy is a bevra. Alright? He drinks and drinks and drinks. Portia hates him. Alright? It's very evident from her speech that if I ask you, according to you, who does she hate the most? So she can stand each of them, but what she can't stand is marrying this guy. She hates him. Alright? She says he's very wily. Wily is pathetic. Horrible. He behaves horribly in the morning. So very wildly, matlab he behaves horribly in the morning when he's sober. Underline sober. Not drunk. So this guy is perpetually drunk. But morning में जब वो पिया नहीं होता, जब तक उसने पीना स्टार्ट नहीं किया होता, तब उसका behavior already pathetic होता है. He's already very wily. Alright? And he's most wily. मतलब he's even worse. He's worse than ever in the afternoon. When he's already drunk. So by afternoon, this guy's already drunk. So he is wily in the morning when he's sober and most wily in the afternoon when he's drunk. When he is best, she's It's a new sentence. She says, you know, when he's at his best behavior, when he's at his best behavior, he's a little worse than a man. तो एक नॉर्मल मैन से वो थोड़ा खराब है. एंड व्हेन ही इज एट हिज वर्स्ट बिहेवियर, जब अपने सबसे बुरेपन पे होता है ना, ही इज अ लिटिल बेटर देन अ बीस्ट. तो एक एनिमल से थोड़ा बेटर है. सो जब वो नॉर्मल होता है, ही इज वर्स देन अ मैन. जब वो बदतर होता है, ही इज लिटिल बेटर देन एन एनिमल. तो इन ईदर केस ही इज पैथेटिक. ऑलराइट, दिस इज नो वे अ कॉम्प्लीमेंट. एंड द वर्स्ट फॉल दैट एवर फेल, अंडरलाइन दैट लाइन, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वर्स्ट फॉल को अंडरलाइन करो. डेथ. Portia says, let's say I marry him. Suppose, God forbid, I get married to him. And if he dies, worst fall ever fell. मतलब if he dies, I think I'll adjust without him. मेरे को नहीं लगता मुझे कुछ ज़्यादा फर्क पड़ेगा लाइफ में अगर I marry him and lose him. So if the worst fall ever fell, I hope I shall make shift to go without him. Make shift to go without him को अनलाइन करो. मतलब I'll manage without him. Okay, I don't think I'll depend on him. I'll think I'll manage my life without him. So Nerissa na knows that Portia की जली है यहाँ पे. Nerissa knows that Portia hates this guy. Nerissa भी कम नहीं है, वो मिर्ची लगाती है, उसको याद दिलाती है कि you remember right कि तेरे बापू के conditions के according अगर इस बंदे ने, इस अंकल ने जो बेवड़ा है, अगर इसने कैस्केट चूज कर लिया करेक्ट वाला, तो बॉस तेरे पास चांस नहीं है, तू डिनाई नहीं कर सकती, तेरे को इससे शादी करनी ही पड़ेगी. तब तू क्या करेगी? सो Portia बोलती है वही तो, वो डर मुझे भी है. You know, that's why I want you, Nerissa, to place a glass of wine on the wrong casket. क्योंकि मैं जानती हूँ इस बंदे में इतना temptation होगा ना वाइन के लिए कि he will go and choose the wrong casket because he'll be attracted by the wine on top of that casket. So let's read this in proper English. Nerissa says, if को circle करो. It's not happened. Nerissa उसको tease कर रही है. If he over here is the Duke of Saxony's nephew. If he should offer to choose, मतलब let's say he decides कि उसको ये स्वयंवर करना है. अभी तक वो लोग एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म भर रहे हैं. ओके, अभी तक रोडीज का सिर्फ ग्रुप डिस्कशन हुआ है, फिर पर्सनल इंटरव्यू होगा. तो सपोज वो हाँ बोलता है कि मेरे को आने का है. ओके, एंड चूजेस द राइट कैस्केट, देन यू विल बी रिफ्यूजिंग टू परफॉर्म योर फादर्स विल इफ यू रिफ्यूज टू एक्सेप्ट हिम. ये लाइन को अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए उल्टा पढ़ने का. इफ यू रिफ्यूज टू एक्सेप्ट हिम, अगर तू उसको एक्सेप्ट करने से मना करती कि नहीं मैं इससे शादी नहीं करूंगी कुछ भी हो जाए, then you should मतलब will be refusing to perform your father's will. Okay, now exam में ये भी RTC की तरह आ सकता है. एंड मैं तुम्हें पहले का चीज पूछ सकता हूँ, like what does will over here refer to? So you'll have to write down about the 3 caskets and Portia's father's lottery that he had set up. Portia बोलती है therefore for the fear of the worst को circle करो, question mark डालो. एग्जाम में पूछेंगे what does worst refer to? Worst here refers to the worst possibility of him choosing the right casket. लिख लो. Don't just listen to it. Therefore, for the fear of the worst, मतलब if he chooses the right casket, I request you, I pray you, place a deep glass of Rhenish wine. Place मतलब keep. A set मतलब keep. Keep a deep glass of Rhenish wine. Rhenish wine is white wine. Comes from Rhine. Rhine is an area. So वो रीजन का जो वाइन होता है, it's called Rhenish wine. So please place a deep glass of Rhenish, deep मतलब long, tall glass of Rhenish wine on the contrary casket. Unlike contrary casket, wrong casket. So place a glass of Rhenish wine on the wrong casket. Then, if the devil be within and temptation without, I know he'll choose it. वो बोलती है यार अगर तूने गलत कैस्केट पे एक वाइन का ग्लास रख दिया ना, तो अगर वो कैस्केट में डेविल भी होगा ना, if the devil be within, if there's a devil inside the casket, he still won't hesitate to choose the casket because he wants the wine that's kept on top of it. That's how tempted he'll be. So if devil be within what? Within the casket. And temptation without, well, if he's tempted, then I'm sure he'll choose it. I'll do anything, Nerissa. E-R-E, golden word है ये, E-R-E. पूरे Merchant of Venice में कम से कम 5 बार आता है. E-R-E मतलब before. Alright? So, I'll do anything, Nerissa, before I marry a sponge. A sponge over here is this guy. Unlike the word sponge. Sponge over here is apna Duke of Saxony's nephew. He's called a sponge because the way the sponge can absorb pani, this guy absorbs alcohol. They'll ask you this in the exam. They'll ask you what metaphor is used for Duke of Saxony's nephew. Why? So the metaphor used is he's called a sponge because of his ability to take in alcohol. Yeah, the clear? अगर तुम्हें बैकग्राउंड में आवाजें सुनाई दे रही है फार्टिंग की, तो वो स्टार है, वो स्नोर कर रहा है. Okay, this is how he snores. I don't know why he makes these noises. All right. I did I tell you guys about the time when Star and I were in my office and a parent had come for an inquiry and Star was at my feet. So there was a table between separating me and the parent, you know, and this guy farted. My dog, I'm talking about Star, and obviously the parent couldn't see Star. So we are in the middle of conversation and suddenly there's this bad odor, okay, this bad fart smell coming in, and the parent doesn't want to say that. Parent knows he hasn't farted. I know I haven't farted. So I just awkwardly said, there's a dog, he farted. The parent just looked at me as if, I'm just trying to make it up. होता है मेरे लाइफ में ये हरकतें, जब there are people you love, you can't get rid of them. So anyway, sorry about the background noise. यहाँ तक सबको समझा क्या तुमको? कोई भी डाउट है क्या? अच्छा हाँ, तुम कैसे बोलोगे? ठीक है, मैं आगे बढ़ रहा हूँ. नेरसा, यू नीड, अब नेरसा थोड़ी समझ गए कि पोशा हाइपर हो रही है. सो नेरसा कंफर्ट्स हर. वंस अगेन एट दिस पॉइंट आई कैन आस्क यू द सेम क्वेश्चन आई आस्क यू अर्लियर. हाउ डज नेरसा कंसोल पोशा? अब वो पॉइंट पे जब मैं पूछता हूं हाउ डज नेरसा कंसोल पोशा, आरटीसी पे डिपेंड करता है. सो यू विल टॉक अबाउट नेरसा टॉकिंग अबाउट द गुड थिंग्स ऑफ अ फादर. इस पॉइंट पे अगर आरटीसी ये हुआ तो यू हैव टू क्रिएट योर ओन जजमेंट. हाउ डज नेरसा कंसोल पोशा? So Nerissa tells her to not worry. She says, you need not fear, lady. Lady matlab friend. The having, unline having, marrying. You need not fear, matlab you don't have to worry marrying any of these lords. Question mark. Why? Why does Nerissa say Portia doesn't have to worry? Next line is the answer. They have acquainted me. They matlab these people have acquainted me, matlab informed me. They have informed me of their determination. Circle determination, put a question mark. What is their determination? Direct question आएगा ये. Determination मतलब their decision. So answers the next line. Which is indeed to return to their home. So ये लोग ना आ तो गए यहाँ तक, आइलैंड तक. आइलैंड पे आके उन्होंने जब टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस पढ़े, Portia's father had placed 3 conditions. That the one who chooses the casket, if he chooses the wrong casket, A, he will have to leave immediately. B, he cannot tell anyone what casket he's chosen. And C, he cannot marry anyone in life. Again, if someone's hearing this podcast for the first time, I'm sure your mind is telling you, अरे sir, but वो लोग पीठ के पीछे जाके क्या कर रहे हैं, कौन guess कर सकता है? What if he goes to another island and gets married? What if he tweets कि golden casket choose मत करना? So he can do anything. But it's a fictional play. So in those days, people were honorable. एक बार उन्होंने कसम ले ली तो they will stick with that कसम. Okay? They work on that belief. So here also, when these suitors came and they read about Portia's father's conditions, they're like, भाई इतना रिस्क कौन लेगा? गलत कैस्केट वाला, शादी वादी तो करनी है लाइफ में यार, मम्मी रुकी है मेरी. Okay? So he says, मम्मी रुकी है मेरी बहू के लिए. Alright? So this guy says, Portia को नेरसा बता रही है, they have acquainted me, acquainted is informed me, with their determination, which is to return to their home, point number 1. And point number 2, trouble you no more. Trouble you मतलब bother you no more. With no more suit matlab proposals. They will no longer try to woo you. W-O-O. Woo, propose, suit. All of them mean the same thing more or less. Okay? So they will no longer try to win you over. Unless ko circle karo. Unless you may be won by some other sort. Sort ko underline karo. Method. Unless you are impressed by some other method than your father's imposition. Circle imposition, super important. Imposition here is a father's will. वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि देख, ये फादर के कंडीशंस के हिसाब से तो हम रिस्क नहीं लेंगे. बट इज देयर एनी अदर वे टू विन पोर्शिया? लाइक क्या हम गाना वाना गा के इसको विन कर सकते? क्या मैं डांस में बहुत अच्छा, मैं डांस करेगा तो वो इंप्रेस होगी क्या? अगर ऐसा कुछ कर सकते तो बोलो, तो हम लोग रेडी है करने के लिए भाई. पर ये उसके बापू का कंडीशन नहीं सुनने का हम लोग को, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द कैस्केट्स. यहाँ तक समझा? Portia's dialogue super important. हर एग्जाम, स्कूल एग्जाम, क्लास एग्जाम, कोई भी एग्जाम, ये डायलॉग आता ही है. ओके, क्वेश्चन विल बी, हाउ डू यू नो that Portia is an obedient daughter? Or how does this scene prove that Portia is an obedient daughter? Or give the allusion of Sibylla and Diana? So पहले तो ये दो कैरेक्टर्स तुम्हें पता होने चाहिए. सिबिला कौन है, डायना कौन है, वो बाजू में दिया हुआ है. और you just have to read it. Sibylla is Sibyl, was a prophetess, मतलब a priestess. Okay, and she got this boon from Apollo, all right, who granted her a boon that she can live as many years as the grains of sand in her fist. मतलब मुट्ठी भर रेती, मुट्ठी भर सैंड अपने फिस्ट में पकड़ लिया, एंड जितने उसमें grains of sand है, उतना she lived. That's as good as being immortal, all right? So Sibylla, in a nutshell, is a person who was close to being immortal. All right, and Diana is the goddess of chastity, the goddess of virginity, the goddess of purity. All right, so she was untouched by any man. All right, she's also the moon goddess, also called Luna. So there are three names for her. All right, so Diana the huntress, or Luna, or the moon goddess. All right, so goddess of virginity, goddess of chastity. The last dialogue that Nerissa told her was, these suitors are asking that are you still planning to stick with your father's will, because there's a chance कि सारे लोग जो आएंगे आइलैंड पे वो लोग ये टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस पढ़ के कल्टी मार लेंगे. नोबडी इज गोइंग टू गो अहेड एंड चूज द कैस्केट एट द रिस्क ऑफ नेवर मैरिंग अगेन. जिंदगी भर कुंवारी मर जाएगी क्या? सो दैट्स व्हाट द प्रिंसेस आर आस्किंग पोर्शिया, दैट इज देयर एनी वे ऑफ विनिंग you apart from your father's will. So this is Portia's dialogue, which shows you that she's obedient towards her father. She says, if I live to be as old as Sibylla, if I grow as old as Sibylla, I will die as chaste as Diana, unless को underline करो, I am obtained married by the manner of my father's will. In simpler language, unless or until the time comes when someone marries me or chooses me or wins me by my father's method, I will wait. I don't care how long it takes. शायद मैं बूढ़ी हो जाऊं, शायद I live as long as Sibylla lived, but I will not let a man touch me. I will not marry a man until that man wins me over by my father's casket. I am so glad that this parcel of wooers, unlike parcel of wooers, this pack of suitors, these 6 suitors, are so reasonable understanding. For there is not one among them, Nerissa, but I would dote on his very absence. Unlike that, I would dote on his very absence. Simple line, that I would miss. There's not one out of these people that I would miss, that I will crave to be with, that I want to be with. So she's saying, I'm very glad that these suitors have left. Whenever a character leaves or when a character enters, what is said about the character is very important. So what does Portia comment about these 6 suitors is an important answer. So Portia says that these people were reasonable to leave because there was not one amongst them who Portia was going to miss. And I pray God give them. So that's the second point. Portia also says that they have a safe journey. So I request God gives them, gives them a fair departure. Nerissa's dialogue. याद दिलाती है. And मैंने बोला था ये बात तुम्हें जब हमने Act 1 Scene 1 किया था and Bassanio mentions Portia. I had told you that in Scene 2, Portia also mentions Bassanio. So before this play begins in textbook, obviously the characters की एक life है, एक backstory है. So in that backstory, they've met each other. Okay, Portia and Bassanio are 2 characters who've met each other earlier. So Nerissa याद दिलाती है उसको. Do you not remember, lady, in your father's time, when your father was alive, a Venetian, a person from Venice, Venetian somebody from Venice, refers to Bassanio. Unlike Venetian, write down Bassanio. In your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar and soldier, unlike scholar and soldier, refers to Bassanio. Someone who is learned and someone who is smart. Bassanio is neither, but that's the impression he gives because he's so charming. So everyone gets impressed by him. So she says, you remember this Venetian who had come, who is such a learned person, a scholar, he's a soldier, he's such a strong looking guy, who had come hither here as in Belmont, who had come to Belmont in companies along with Marquis of Montferrat. Marquis of Montferrat is Marquis is a title, alright, of an Italian person. Montferrat is a place. So Rahim Chacha, अरे वो याद है रहीम चाचा के साथ एक बार एक बंदा आया था यहाँ पे तेरे डैडी को मिलने के लिए. तो that Rahim Chacha is Marquis of Montferrat. And ये बंदा जो आया था is Bassanio. So Portia excite हो जाती होती है, अरे of course Bassanio ना. And then she bites her tongue. She's like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to be so excited. Like, I'm not supposed to show anyone that I remember him or he's the only person who's on my mind 24/7. So she says, Bassanio ना? और वैसा ही कुछ तो नाम था, like Bassanio, मेरे को याद नहीं है clearly. So she immediately improvises. So she first says, yes, it was Bassanio. That shows her excitement, that she remembers it's Bassanio. Then she changes the line. She says, so as I think so was he called. मतलब ऐसा ही कुछ तो नाम था, मैं श्योर नहीं हूँ. She's acting, okay? She's pretending that she doesn't remember. And Nerissa बोलती है, yeah, of course. So true, madam, he of all men that I have seen, my foolish eyes, मतलब my inexperienced eyes, She's being humble. In short, she's saying, of all the people I have seen, this guy was the best deserving a fair lady. So in my opinion, Portia, जितने लोगों को मैंने देखा आते जाते यहाँ पे, ये बंदा ना अपना हीरो है. इसके अलावा तुझे कोई नहीं मिलने वाला. ये राम है तेरे लीला का. Okay? So यही होना चाहिए तेरे साथ. And Portia बोलती है, I remember him well, and I remember him worthy of your praise, of thy praise, मतलब of your praise. So I agree with you, Nerissa. He does deserve to be praised as you're praising him. Who enters the scene now? Very important question. Why? Very important question. So who enters the scene now? A servant. 1 mark मिल गया वहां पे. How now? What news? तो servant को पूछती है, क्या भाई क्यों आया यहाँ पे? And servant उसको information देता है. Now what the servant says is also very important. So servant says, the 4 strangers, circle 4. बड़ा question mark. हमने पढ़े 6 suitors. आ रहा है यहाँ पे 4 suitors. So there's an answer to it. And you have to write exactly what's given on the side. Okay, you can't add your own theory here. So let's read that. I'm going to read it as given. 6 people have been mentioned earlier. Possible explanations for this are, Shakespeare seems to have forgotten that 6 suitors have been discussed. Now, that can happen. वो गणपति जी की तरह नहीं है कि एक ही बार में बैठ के उसने महाभारत लिख ली. Okay? So, obviously he was getting up again and again. When he was writing something, he kept getting up here back and forth. So maybe, वो लिख रहा था स्टोरी और कोई उसको कहीं जाना पड़ा, वापस आया तो भूल गया कि वो 4 suitors की बात कर रहा था. He has to be very careless for that to happen. Second explanation is that the Scottish and English lord were added to the scene to amuse the audience. Now this is a very likely thing, alright? I don't know how many kids, you kids are young, so I don't know how many plays you've actually watched in your life right now. But your parents, I'm pretty sure, have watched several plays by now. So if a play has taken place in Mumbai in January, and by the time the troupe is performing it in Bangalore, maybe it's August. So January and August के बीच में अगर कुछ political scenes हुए हैं, या कुछ accidents हुए हैं, या कुछ funny चीजें हुई है, तो कहीं ना कहीं वो लोग अपने play में, dialogues में वो चीजों को incorporate करते हैं to make it more relatable to the audience. Alright? So ये भी एक play था जो बार बार perform हो रहा था. So maybe old editions में there was originally just 4 suitors, but ये जो Scottish lord and the English lord, based on the wars that were happening in England, maybe they were added later. Okay, so that's the second explanation. Or the third explanation is that the servant hated 2 of the suitors so much that he felt it was, उनको तो नाम ही नहीं लेना चाहिए. वो लोग इतने हरामी लोग हैं कि उन लोग का नाम ही नहीं लेना. Please don't ask me कि सर ये भी हो सकता है ना, वो भी हो सकता है ना, मुझे नहीं पता. वो सिर्फ शेक्सपियर चाचा को पता है. अब वो अंकल तो ऊपर है, वो अपने को कुछ बोलेंगे नहीं क्यों उन्होंने ऐसे लिखा था. तो we just have to write what's given over here. Okay? So 6 suitors have been mentioned, but servant आके 4 suitors की बात करता है. He says the 4 strangers are the 6 suitors. Seek for you, madam. Now, one common question kids ask me after this explanation of mine, okay sir, वो सब ठीक है, but exam में हम क्या लिख के आए? Should we write 4 or should we write 6? So you have to maintain 6 suitors only. But when this answer specifically comes, what has the servant come for? Then you will write, the servant has come to inform Portia about the 4 strangers. And bracket में लिख देने का, actually there were 6. इतना एक line add कर देने का, ठीक है? So the 4 strangers seek for you. मतलब they are looking for you, madam. Question mark. Why? To bid goodbye. So to take their leave. Also, there's a forerunner come from a 5th. Unlike 5th over here is actually the 7th suitor. Okay, Prince of Morocco. So 5th को underline करके लिखो Prince of Morocco. Forerunner को underline करके लिखो messenger. There's a messenger who's come from the 5th, who's the Prince of Morocco, who brings word, who brings message that Prince of Morocco will be arriving at your gates tonight. Portia's last dialogue shows you that Portia is just human. Just because she's the main female lead of this play does not mean that she's God or she's flawless. This line shows you the racial discrimination which was prevalent back then based on skin color. Okay, because the moment Portia hears that it's Prince of Morocco, she knows that Morocco is a place where people will be dark skinned. So this person who's coming will be dark skinned. She says, if I could bid the 5th welcome. The phrase by itself means if I could welcome. If I could welcome the 5th suitor with so good a heart, with as much excitement. With as much excitement as I'm bidding the other 4 farewell, then I should be glad of his approach. The line simply means that I wish I could welcome the 5th suitor with as much enthusiasm, with as much excitement as I'm saying goodbye to the other 4. Okay? So the other 6. If he have the condition, underline the word condition, nature, behavior, heart. If he has the heart of a saint, which means if he has a pure heart, if he has a good heart, if he's a good natured person, but the complexion, but the color, skin color of a devil. So Elizabethan days when they used to think that dark colors are associated with Satan, devil. So she says, if he has the heart of a saint, but the color of a devil, black skin, I would prefer he should shrive me than wive me. So I would prefer that he blesses me and goes away rather than marrying me. That last line shows you racial discrimination. She says, I don't want to marry someone who's dark skinned. By nature अच्छा होगा तो उसको बोला आके मेरे को आशीर्वाद देके चले जाए, but I don't want to marry him. So I would rather he shrive me. Shrive is bless me rather than marrying me. Come Nerissa. Sirrah. Sirrah is a term used for servants. Go Sirrah. Go before. Go before malab go fast before us. Whilst we shut the gate upon one wooer, while we are closing the gates on one passer of wooers, another knocks at the door. So that's the last dialogue. Exwint is multiple characters exiting. I hope you guys understood this entire scene. I'm done with Act 1, Scene 2. If there's any kind of doubt, just message me the doubts or wait until the next Zoom lecture so you guys can ask me these doubts. Once you are done reading the scene, read the notes thoroughly. Alright, that's how you are done with the scene. Read it multiple times if required. If you don't have my notes, read the scene. That's more than enough. Okay, read the scene, read the allusion. Again, I'm telling you, you all need to have just one book. That's the Verity edition. It's a blue and black colored book, Morningstar publication. All right, that's the apt book to study from. All right, it's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock by the time I finish recording. Go to sleep, everybody. If you're already sleeping and you're up when you're listening to it, good morning. Take care. I don't know what bakwas I'm doing. It's probably because I just want to go to bed. All right, adios. Take care. Bye.